International program. Learning sessions are using English every day, but don't worry about making mistakes. We are all learning together. An international class increases students' motivation to join ISMA, credit transfer, and another students' exchange program. We can develop ourselves not only at the national level, but also internationally. So don't be hesitate to join us. See you there!
Never in my years have I had such a good experience with my lecturers. They are all very knowledgeable and eager to teach. I highly recommend UNNES to anyone who takes their education seriously.
From the administrative side, it is supported by academic staff who are ready to provide excellent services. Learning certainly requires a comfortable environment. English Education Study Program is surrounded by a green zone because conservation is our vision. So the air around will always be fresh to breathe. Our campus provides various sports facilities to maintain students' health, which is a major factor during the learning process.
So we are waiting for you to join English education program at Universitas Negeri Semarang.
A good quality natural environment also helps students enjoy the teaching and learning process. Welcome to the English Education Study Program, internationally recognized. English Literature Study Program focuses on literature, linguistics, and translation. The study program is in the Faculty of Language and Art. It's suitable for those of you who like literary works. Short time, the study program already has an international exchange program. This proves that this program is ready to produce graduates who are able to compete in the international arena.
The English Literature Study Program has been accredited internationally by ECAS. This year, we are opening an international class with qualified lecturers and well-established facilities.
Hi, I'm Fania. As an English literature student, I was able to study about histories, cultures, and the English language itself, which can enhance my English skills. With the skills that I gained, I was able to study in Canada as an ISMA awardee in 2021. In Canada, I experienced new cultures and also new education system. It was an unforgettable and valuable experiences. I'm grateful that I chose English literature as my major. For those who want and love to learn about English literature is your choice.
Hi, I'm Rahma. During my time in English literature, I was given the chance to join many modules, such as public speaking, that encouraged me to practice more about my English and communication skills. This has allowed me to achieve my dreams to study in the UK and being an ISMA awardee in 2021. Study abroad has given me a great opportunity to learn new cultures and new academic system. So for those of you who want to study abroad, don't hesitate to choose English literature as your major.
The lecturers from this department have degrees from reputable universities, domestic and overseas. The lecturers have sincere dedication and empathy to always develop students' ability. If there is a problem in administration, students can directly communicate with academic staff who are always helpful and
Waalaikumsalam Pak Dekan.
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning, selamat pagi. Prof.
Alhamdulillah,
Uli.
Rabbil
Ya,
Alamin. Selamat
pagi.
pagi, Sugeng
Alhamdulillah.
Enjang. Sugeng
Selamat
Rabu Pak
pagi, Prof.
Dekan.
Aji.
Selamat pagi, Dr. Willy Renandia from
Good
Singapore.
morning,
Good
Ibu.
morning.
Selamat pagi.
Terima
Good
kasih,
morning.
Dr. Willy.
Pak
Nggih,
Tommy, Bu Uli, nggih.
nggih. Terima kasih banyak Pak Willy sudah berkenan berpartisipasi dalam seminar kami. Thank
Nggih.
you so much, Pak Willy.
Most welcome. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. Pak Dekan, mohon izin kami mulai.
Oke, silahkan, Prof. Silahkan.
Baik. Bagaimana Pak Dekan?
Ya, silahkan, Prof. Bisa dimulai.
Iya, baik, baik. Silahkan, si acara kita mulai.
Ladies and gentlemen, we cordially invite you to be ready because we will start the opening in a few minutes. Before we begin, we kindly remind all participants to please turn on your camera and keep your microphone muted throughout the session, unless you are invited to speak. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Good morning. Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Head of the English Education Study Program, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Head of the English Literature Study Program, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Chair of Local Committee, and good morning also for our plenary speakers, Dr. Willy Ardian Renandia, PhD.
Morning.
Associate Professor Dr. Eng Lee Luan.
Good morning.
Dr. Angela Cook.
Good morning.
And Dr. Novia Trisanti.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. And distinguished guests and all participants. Welcome to the 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature, and Translation, organized by English Department, Faculty of Languages and Arts, Universitas Negeri Semarang. My name is Ashanti, and I'm truly honored to serve you as your Master of Ceremony today. Before we formally get to the proceeding for this morning, we would like to express our gratitude to the guests of honors for being present on this very special occasion on Saturday, 13th of September 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, as the saying goes, the sooner the better. Let us now proceed to our first agenda, which is the opening ceremony. We will begin by singing together the national anthem, Indonesia Raya, followed by the UNNES anthem.
Universitas Negeri Semarang menjulang setinggi di angkasa, mencetak tenaga terdidik yang berbangga dan berdaya guna, berlandaskan Pancasila sakti, Undang-Undang Dasar 45, serta Tridharma perguruan tinggi sebagai dasar pengabdiannya. Majulah Universitas Negeri Semarang di tengah kemencah pembangunan, mendidik bangsa menempuh ilmu, menyongsong Indonesia baru, memelihara dan mengembangkan ilmu murni dan kependidikan, melimpah berkaramannya, semoga UNNES selalu jaya.
Before we proceed to the next event, let's pray together. The prayer will be led by Mr. Zuhrul Anam. Mr. Anam, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The honorable guests, distinguished speakers, participants, and ladies and gentlemen, let us humbly bow our hearts and pray, and allow me to lead the prayer in accordance with Islamic traditions. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. All praise and gratitude belong to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has granted us health, guidance, and the opportunity to gather in these blessed occasions, the 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature, and Translations. Ya Allah, with your mercy, we are united, and with your permissions, this important academic gathering is held. We ask you to bless this conference, make it meaningful and fruitful, and recorded it as part of our good deeds. Ya Allah, the all-knowing, bestow upon us beneficial knowledge, wisdom, and clarity of mind. Grant us patience, sincerity, and strength so that the knowledge shared and discussed in this conference may bring benefit to our community, our nations, and the wider world. Ya Allah, the all-forgiving, forgive our shortcomings, the sins of our families, our leaders, and those who have contributed to the success of this conference. Ya Allah, our Lord, you alone hear our prayers and grant our hopes. Therefore, accept our humble supplication. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, the next is welcoming speeches. The first speech will be from the chair of the organizing committee of this program, delivered by Professor Sri Wuli Fitriati, PhD. Professor Wuli, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Asanti. Am I audible enough?
Yes, Bu.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable, the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts, Professor Dr. Tommy Juniawan M. Hum. Good morning, the Dean. Good morning, Prof. Tommy.
Good morning, Prof. Oli. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Distinguished plenary speakers, Dr. Willy Renandia, Dr. Angela Cook, Dr. Ang Li Luang, Dr. Citra Sangkaran and Dr. Novia Trisanti. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning.
Coordinators of the study programs in the Faculty of Languages and Arts, guests, presenters, participants, and the organizing committee. Good morning, all of you. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. I'd like to express my gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the blessings that we can be here for the 14th ELTLT Conference with the theme Empowering Global Learners of Foreign Language Education, Literature and Translation for Sustainable Development Goals Achievement and Institutional Excellence. Bapak, Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, this international conference is hosted by the undergraduate program of English Language Education in cooperation with the English Literature program, Master's and Doctoral program of Language Education within the Faculty of Languages and Arts, UNNES. Our conference will be started with plenary speakers, the Honorable Dr. Willy Ardian Renandia from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, Dr. Angela Cook from the University of Queensland, Australia, Associate Professor Dr. Eng Li Lun from University Malaya, Malaysia, Associate Professor Dr. Citra Sankara from National University of Singapore, and Dr. Novia Trisanti from Universitas Negeri Semarang. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proudly inform you that there are more than 90 presenters from academicians and practitioners all over Indonesia and abroad, and more than 100 participants. Thank you, Bapak Ibu, for being part of this important academic journey. May the conference be fruitful, insightful, and inspiring for each of us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Woolley. Now, let me invite the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Arts, UNNES, to deliver a welcoming speech. Professor Dr. Tommy Yuniawan M. Hung, the floor is yours.
Oke, thank you. Terima kasih, Mbak Asanti. Suara saya terdengar?
Yes, Prof.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih.
Ya, Pak Dekan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The honorable plenary speakers in this conference, Bapak Willy Ardian Renanda PhD. Good morning, Pak Willy.
Morning, Pak. Good morning. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. And then Associate Professor Dr. Li Luan. Good morning. And Dr. Angela Chu and Associate Professor Dr. Citra Sangkran and Dr. Novia Trisanti. Good morning.
Good morning, Pak Dekan.
And then Professor Woolley, the organizing committee, the conference, all presenter, and all participants. First of all, welcome to the 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature and Translation, or ELTLT 2025. It is truly a happy moment for me to see many participants from across Indonesia and around the world gathering here for what promised to be a meaningful academic event. This year's theme, Empowering Global Learners of Foreign Language Education, Literature and Translation for Sustainable Development Goal Achievement and Institutional Excellence, is both timely and inspiring. It reminds us that language and literature education are more than just classroom subject. They are powerful tool for building global understanding, advising sustainability and shaping future leaders within the framework of sustainable development goals. As the Dean of the Faculty of Languages and Art at Universitas Negeri Semarang, I am proud that our faculty, especially the English Education Study Program and the English Literature Study Program, continue to foster international collaboration, critical dialogue, and impactful research through this annual conference. I motivate all of you to share your ideas, ask questions, make connection, research collaboration, and most importantly, enjoy to experience. Conferences like this are not just about presenting papers. They are about building communities and finding new ways to grow together as educators, researchers, and global citizens. To the organizing committee, thank you for your dedication, Prof. Wuli, and all participants, and to all our guests, keynote speakers, and presenters. Thank you for being part of this 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature, and Translation, or ELTLT 2025. Let's make this conference a success together. And the Dean of Language and Art Faculty, I officially open this ELTLT conference. Let's say Bismillahirrahmanirrahim together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Thank you very much and enjoy our 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature, and Translation, or ELTLT 2025. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Tommy, for the insightful speech and also opening the event.
Terima kasih.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the next event, let's take a photo together. For all speakers, guests, and participants, can you please turn on your camera so we can see your face? Okay, we will wait for several seconds. Okay, is everyone's ready? Okay. Because we have several slides in here, we will start to take a photo from slide 1. Is the operator ready? Okay, slide 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, slide 2. 1, 2, 3. All right, then the next slide. 1, 2, 3. Slide 4. 1, 2, 3. Slide 5. 1, 2, 3. Slide 6. 1, 2, 3. We have a lot of slides today, so that's okay. We can wait. The 7th slide, I think, yeah. 1, 2, 3. The 8th slide. 1, 2, 3. The slide 9. 1, 2, 3. And the last slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. This is the end of the opening ceremony. We are going to reach the next agenda soon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very moment that we have been waiting for, the plenary session 1. I would like to call Dr. Willy Ardian Renandia, PhD, from Nanyang Technological University, to show his notable work's contribution entitled Challenging Misconception in ELT. In presenting his paper, he will be moderated by Professor Puji Astuti, PhD. She is currently teaching as a lecturer in English Education Study Program, UNNES. Professor Puji, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Asante. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah,
Morning.
it's a bright Saturday morning here in my place. I hope everyone's feeling energized after the opening ceremony. My name is Puji Astuti. I'm honored to serve as your moderator for the first plenary session of the 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature and Translation, ELTLT 2025. This morning, we are going to begin with a critical and thought-provoking session that challenges us to revisit some of the long-held assumptions in our field. Our plenary speaker will take us on a journey of questioning, reflecting, and even unlearning so that we can better align our teaching practices with current research and with the real needs of our learners. It's my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished plenary speaker, Dr. Willy Ardian Renandia, Pak Willy or Bapak, that's I usually call him. Dr. Renandia is a language teacher educator with extensive teaching experience in Asia. He currently teaches language education courses in Singapore, including at NIENTU, SUSS, and RELC. He is also a visiting adjunct professor at Chulalongkorn University, Thailand, and Wuhan University, China. He has given numerous keynote presentations at international ELT conferences and has published extensively in the area of second language education. His publications include Language Teaching Methodology, an anthology of current practice, Cambridge University Press, and Student-Centered Cooperative Learning, Springer International. He maintains a large teaching professional development forum called Teacher Voices and a website named Willy's ELT Corner. I'm putting the links to his forum and website along with the link to his Google Scholar profile in the chat for everyone. Okay, there you go. Some of Pak Willy's students are with us this morning from Singapore, Heng Lang, from China, Yang Zhongfeng, Liu Nana, Zhu Mojuan, and Go Zaudi. Welcome to ELTLT 2025. Today, Dr. Renandia will speak on the topic, Challenging Misconceptions in ELT. He will invite us to critically reflect on some widespread but questionable beliefs in ELT. He will also examine assumptions about language learning strategies, encouraging us to consider alternative approaches that are better supported by research and more helpful for our students' success. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Willy Renandia.
Thank you very much, Ibu Puji, Matur nuwun, Pak Tommy, Ibu Willy. Thank you very much for having me again. I think Ibu Puji forgot to mention that I was born in Semarang, and I have been to your university, the beautiful campus located at, was it Gunung Kelut?
Gunung Pati.
Gunung Pati, yes. Yes, a beautiful campus, yeah. and I'm looking forward to visiting the university again sometime in the future, maybe later this year or maybe next year. In addition to that, I think I should also mention that I was born in Semarang. I grew up in Semarang. I was educated in Semarang, and I did my first degree, my undergraduate studies in Yogyakarta. So I'm very familiar with Java. I'm familiar with Semarang, Yogyakarta, and also the surrounding area. And in fact, I'm thinking of presenting today in Javanese, but I decided not to.
No, Pak
Because
Willy.
my Japanese is not good enough. I can speak the language, but I don't think I can do a presentation in that language. Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, the topic of my presentation today is very, very important and also very relevant for students and also for English language educators. So sorry, yeah, there you go. So that's the title of my presentation. Misconceptions in ELT. ELT stands for English language teaching. Let me begin with the most important thing that I would like to share with you, that I would like you to remember after my presentation. I think, as Ibu Puji mentioned early on, I think we need to look at our beliefs and our practices, how we do things, how we teach in the classroom, how we engage our students in the classroom, and think very hard about those beliefs that may no longer be useful, and be ready to sort of throw away those that are not doing anything, relevant for our students' English language development. In particular, those that prevent instead of facilitate language proficiency development. 5 points that I want to share with you. These are important areas in language teaching, in English language teaching. We look at grammar. Yes, grammar is important, but how grammar is taught, I think, how grammar is understood, I think is equally important. Number 2 is about vocabulary, another important concept in English language learning. I will share with you my thought about how vocabulary actually has been neglected, but in reality, based on research, I think vocabulary is even more important than grammar. I will also talk about the importance of listening materials, texts that we use for teaching and assessment purposes, listening materials, reading materials, and so on and so forth. And number 4 is this idea that strategies are so important in language learning, in language development. I will invite you to question this notion together. And finally, the concept of native-like fluency, native-like proficiency. I think this concept has been around for many, many years. And for some people, they have accepted this as the most important and major goal for students' language proficiency development. I think we need to look at this very carefully and be ready to challenge the assumption that our job as a teacher, as an English language teacher, is to help our students to become as proficient, as competent as native English speakers. So these are 5 things that I want to share with you. Yeah. Okay, first off, we look at grammar very carefully. Yeah, grammar, and grammar. It's very interesting observations that I've had when I meet people, when I talk to people, when I meet teachers. I ask these questions, and the response has always been, when your lessons don't go very well, when your students don't learn very much after spending 5 years, 6 years, or the whole 4 years of education, for example, they usually say, blame it on the grammar. The students have not learned the grammar of the language. When students can't speak well, it must be grammar. Yeah, grammar is the source of speaking problem. If they can't write very well, again, grammar is the scapegoat. Grammar is because students don't know enough grammar. And because of that, they can't write very well. And interestingly, when they don't like your English lessons, the response is also teach them more grammar. It's precisely because you teach too much grammar that the students actually don't enjoy attending your English language lessons. And lastly, when they don't do well on examination, I think you will also immediately think about, I think I need to teach them more grammar. Yeah. So teaching students more grammar is not a very good assumption. I think it's a misconception that we have had about grammar for many, many years. Let me share with you now two types of grammar. Yeah. And I hope you can relate to which grammar do you usually think about, or which grammar do you usually spend more time about in the classroom? Yeah, the first type of grammar is what I would call explicit grammar knowledge. Now, this is what often happens in the English language classroom. You teach the laws of grammar, you teach the rules of grammar, and the teaching is usually done in this way, step by step. And the teaching of grammar is done linearly. You know, today or this week, you focus on one element of grammar, maybe the present tense, and then next week or the week after, you spend time teaching the rules of the past tense, and so on and so forth. This is a step-by-step teaching of grammar. The assumption here is that if I teach all these grammatical rules, do a good job in equipping, in providing students with the necessary knowledge and foundation for using the language, for speaking, for writing, for reading, and so on and so forth. Okay, so and today I want to share with you, I want to say to you that we should do less of this. I think we should reduce our teaching of explicit grammar rules. Yeah. Now, here is a good piece of advice from somebody by the name of Michael Swan. Michael Swan is a grammarian. Well, essentially, he spent his whole career writing, talking, giving workshops on grammar. And this is what he says. Yeah, should we be teaching grammar? The answer to that is absolutely yes, we do have to teach grammar. As a language teacher, whether you teach Bahasa Indonesia or you teach any other languages, grammar is an important part of language learning. But the next question is very important. Should we teach all the grammar rules that we have in the English language? Yeah, let me say this again very clearly to you. Should we be teaching all the grammar rules in the English language? The answer is no, we should not. I think we will be wasting a lot of time because that will take up a lot of our valuable time in the classroom, just focusing on just one element, one aspect of language. Remember, grammar is just one aspect, yeah? And there are many other aspects that are equally important, or if not more important than grammar. And I think the suggestion by this person, by this grammarian, that we should be teaching the most useful ones. And the answer to that is yes, the most useful grammar. I think we should be teaching those, we should be spending more time teaching those useful grammatical structures in the English language. Without knowledge of these basic and most useful grammatical structures, I think the students will not be able to do very much with the language that they are learning. Now, here are some examples, and there are many other examples out there. How to use simple sentences, how to use verbs in the English language, because verbs are is an important part of the grammatical system of the English language. How to ask questions, how to say no, how to give compliments, how to make a very simple request, for example. Yeah, these are basic grammatical structures that we need to focus more on. Okay, how about this one? Let me ask Ibu Puji. Ibu Puji, do you think we should be teaching grammatical structures like this one? Not only, but also. Had I met you earlier, I would have, little did I know that it's imperative that every teacher be given a higher salary, for example. Ibu Puji, please say, let me know whether you agree that these are important grammatical structures that we need to teach our students.
I am reflecting on my experiences as an English learner, Pak Willy.
Yes.
I see these expressions as essential. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't recall that my English teachers, when I was in middle school and high school,
Yeah.
they helped me to acquire these expressions naturally. I don't remember
Yeah. Okay.
learning these expressions
Okay.
in a way that is natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I think what I'm trying to say here is that these are grammatical structures that we have in the English language. Yeah. But the question of whether we should spend a lot of time teaching these grammatical structures is something that we should think about very carefully. My immediate response is, if you want to teach this, do it very, very quickly. Do not spend like 10 minutes teaching the students all these grammatical features. The reasons are, number one, we don't use these grammatical structures very often, not in speaking. Very, very rarely that people use this in speaking. Because these grammatical structures are very complex, they probably occur occasionally in writing, especially in dense academic writing. You get to see things like this. But in daily conversation, and that's what we want to do. We want our students to be able to engage in simple, everyday conversation, writing simple, email messages and things like that. And you don't use these structures very often. So ask yourself this question before you decide on whether you should be teaching certain grammatical features. Number one is this: do you use this very often in your daily life? When was the last time you remember using these grammatical structures in speaking and also in writing? If the answer is, I don't remember using it last year, I don't remember using it in the past 5 years, then the decision becomes very easy. You should not spend a lot of time teaching these grammatical structures to your students. But some of you may be asking, but these are questions, grammatical features that appear on the examinations. So what do? I think you can ask the school to change the grammatical or the grammar exam or the English language examination. I think these are not very useful if you ask me. Okay. Now, so that's the first one, explicit grammar knowledge. Yeah. Should we be teaching this? Yes, a little, not too much. I think we have been spending too much, either teaching grammar at the sentence level and also teaching grammar at the text level. At the text level, I've seen people spending a lot of time explaining the generic structure of a narrative, for example. A narrative begins like this. A narrative has the following grammatical features and things like that. Small amount of explanation is okay, but not too much. Not too much. I think it's the second one that is more important. The second one is known as implicit grammar knowledge. Now, this is the kind of grammar that is not very teachable, if you like. You can only acquire these grammatical structures incidentally. Yeah. So as you understand how, as you understand a conversation, as you read something that you really understand, I think these grammatical structures will somehow stick in your head without the need for explicit explanation. So the implicit grammar is the kind of grammar that enables you actually to speak, to write, and to understand the language. By Dian, for example, I'm sure you have a lot of implicit grammar knowledge of Bahasa Indonesia. I'm sure that you know a lot of the grammar of Bahasa Indonesia, but implicitly. Now, this knowledge of implicit grammar of Bahasa Indonesia is what enables you to speak very fluently, very spontaneously with other people. But if I were to ask you to explain, can you explain to me the rules about the awalan me and akhiran kan, for example? I think you won't be able to do it. And that is probably not important. Yeah. If the purpose is for you to be able to speak the language, I think it's the second one, the second grammar, that is extremely important for the students to acquire. Now, here is a quotation, a quote from an expert in language acquisition. And the quote says something like this. Yeah, I think you should remember this. The ability to produce language relatively easily for communicative purposes draws heavily on implicit knowledge. And that's exactly what I say to you, Badian. Your ability to speak Javanese, for example, itu karena because you have this implicit knowledge of the Javanese language, not because somebody is teaching you the rules of the Bahasa Jawa. Do you speak Javanese, Badian? You do, right? Yes, you do. Okay.
No, sir. I'm diagnosed.
Oh, okay. You're
From
okay.
Borneo.
Okay. But since you study in Semarang, I think you should learn Bahasa Jawa from Mbak Puji.
Yes. Okay.
So the question to us is this. If we spend less time teaching explicit grammar, all the rules of the grammar of the language, then the question for us to think about is this. So how do we teach implicit grammar? I think I mentioned early on that it's not easy. It's very difficult for you to teach it, but you can provide a condition, you can provide opportunities for the students to experience the language, to listen to the language, to read and appreciate and enjoy the language. And in the process of enjoying, in the process of understanding, I think you will intuitively, intuitively remember the implicit rules of the grammar of the English language. Here is a gift, a present for you. Yeah, if you want to know how implicit knowledge can be provided, can be promoted in language learning context, this free paper is for you to look at. You just need to scan the QR code, yeah? Okay, so that's number one, grammar. Yeah, let me just summarize. Grammar is grammar important? The answer is yes. Should we be teaching all the grammar rules? No, I don't think so. You won't have enough time. Even if you do, I think the students will not learn very much from explicit grammar teaching. What you need to do is to balance it with, by providing your students with the opportunity to acquire, to pick up a lot of the implicit grammar of the English language. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Number two is vocabulary. Now, this is very, very interesting. For many, many years, a lot of language educators, a lot of language teachers believe that vocabulary is not as important as grammar. I think we got it wrong. I think it's the other way around. It's vocabulary is actually more important than grammar. Yeah. I mean, both are important, but if you look at the role of grammar and vocabulary in the long run, I think we have to say that vocabulary is more important. So these are a few points for me to help you understand why, and the reason why vocabulary is not given much attention in language teaching. It's often neglected. It's very, very often neglected in favor of grammar. The belief is that grammar is important, is more important, and grammar can be taught easily and more systematically. And because of that, we should teach more grammar. I don't think that's a very good reasoning. I don't think that's a very good rationale. Yeah. And when you see the inclusion of vocabulary in your teaching, very often it's taught in a very decontextualized manner. You just mention the word in the English language and then explain the meaning in Bahasa Indonesia. This word means this, that's all. And that is way, way insufficient. I think research tells us that if you teach vocabulary in that way, I think you are just scratching the very, very, the basic surface of the meaning of the word. I think you need to go beyond that. Yeah, so the focus should not just be on the basic dictionary meaning, but you should be focusing more on the pragmatic meaning of the words, how the words are used, how the words are used in communication, how the words are used in a dialogue, how the words are used in a presentation, how the words are used in a story, in an essay, and things like that, and how meanings change a lot depending on who you are speaking to, in what situations, and under what condition. The meaning of the words can be very, very, very different. And we don't usually teach that. I think we should feel guilty because we have not done a good job in teaching vocabulary. What we teach in the classroom is just the surface level, very, very tiny, element of vocabulary. Let me share with you some of the research evidence that shows the importance of vocabulary in language skill development. Here. Now, here is a summary of the research studies that have been done for many, many years. And the conclusion here is very good for us to remember. Language ability, kemampuan berbahasa, the ability to speak, the ability to write, the ability to give a presentation, to read and to understand, is to a large extent a function of vocabulary size. Vocabulary size simply means the more words you know, I think the better your language skills are. I think that is what research is telling us. Okay. So, and the implication of that is very clear. I think as a teacher, as a language teacher, we need to spend more time making sure that the students know enough vocabulary, not just the basic meaning of the words, but also how these words are used in situations, in context. Okay. So do not be afraid when you look at data like this one. This is from real research that was published a few years ago. Let me just explain to you what it means. The researcher by the name of Matthew Wallace did a big study. He had a lot of experience teaching English in Japan. And he found that many Japanese students had difficulty understanding spoken language. So his research was on listening. He wanted to know why listening is difficult. What are the factors that, influence students' ability to listen with comprehension? So listening here is the target, the dependent measure of the research. And he wanted to know the many factors that can influence students' ability to comprehend spoken language. Here. So he included a number of variables there, like thinking variables, memory variables, attention control, and things like that. He also looked at other variables like this one, whether or not the topic of the listening has any impact on students' listening difficulty, and also vocabulary. Okay. Now, the results are interesting. As you can see, all these variables are correlated. They have some influence on the student's ability to understand spoken language. But two of the most important variables, ada dua yang paling penting. Yang pertama, the first one is topic, the content. Yeah. If the students are not familiar with the content, of course, they will experience difficulty. I think it happens to everyone, yeah? But the second one is interesting. Itu yang warnanya merah di bawah itu. The one below. Vocabulary is the most important factor that prevents, that influences students' comprehension. Now, if you're able to see the small number there, the statistical number there, the correlation is the highest here between vocabulary and listening. So the key point again is this, that research after research tells us very clearly, and this study has been replicated in other places for reading, for listening, for speaking, and all that. Vocabulary is more important, but at the same time, vocabulary has not been given enough attention by teachers. Now, if reading the graph there is a bit difficult because there's a lot of numbers, a lot of variables, let's look at what students actually say. Yeah, I went to China a few years ago as part of my research project, and I spoke to, SMP, Siswa, high school students in China, asking them about why listening is difficult. And this is what they say. I have very small vocabulary. And that's the most important reason for them. And actually, I think for learning English, the grammatical rules seldom change. That is a very interesting observation. The grammatical rules seldom change. It's the vocabulary that is important for them. Yeah, I just need to build up my vocabulary. Here's what another student says. If I come across one new word, this is often the problem when you listen to everyday speech. When I come across a word that I don't understand, I stop, I freeze. And when that happens, it's all gone. I can't follow what is happening next. If I come across one new word, I often get stuck and I then cannot catch the rest of the information. So, practical implication for this is this. For many years, people have been asking, so if vocabulary is important, then how many words do you need to know? How many words that you need to know? I think the general agreement is about 2,000 words for communication, especially for speaking. Fewer than 2,000 words is okay too. I would actually say if you know 1,000 words in the English language, and you know this 1,000 words very, very, very well, I think you should be able, if you learn these words very well, you should be able to use this to express almost anything in the English language with 1,000 words. And that's not a lot. Yeah, many of our students, graduate students, high school students in Indonesia, they know more than 2,000 words. Now, the problem is they don't know how to use them. They know the meaning of the individual words, but they don't know how to use them. They have breadth, the size, but they don't have the depth. Depth here means usage, how words are actually used in context. Now, for reading and writing, I think you need more words. Yeah. When you speak, you can choose the words that you want to use, but in reading and writing, in reading in particular, you can't choose the words. I think you are dependent on the author's intent and the author's language. So by and large, people agree that you need about 5,000 words for reading and for writing, especially academic writing. Yeah. Okay, one important point about vocabulary is usage, how words are used in real conversation, in real communication. Now, this is where we need to understand the importance of how words do not go alone, but words usually travel together with their friends. So words actually have friends, and these are known in technical terms, known as lexical chunks or lexical bundles or fixed expressions. Now, here are some examples. There are expressions like make do with, expressions like make it up to you, expressions like make fun of me, expressions like make my day or made my day, make up your mind and things like that. You just have to remember these words. You have to learn this. Is it possible for you to learn this in school? The answer is it's very difficult because schools are very limited. The context is very limited. The textbook is also very limited. There's no opportunity for the students to see and to hear how these expressions are used in the English language. Here are some other examples. Yasinta, can you say make money in the English language, Yasinta? Yes, you can, right? Make money. Make money itu bukan membuat uang, tapi mencari. Bekerja untuk mendapatkan gaji. To make money, ya. Can you say make sure? The answer is yes, you can, right? Make sure. Can you say make a sound? Yes, you can. Can you say make a fuss? Yes, you can. But what do you say? Make homework or do your homework? Which one? Make your homework or do your homework?
Do your homework.
Do your homework, yes. But why do your homework, not make your homework? What's the reason for that?
It's not grammatically correct.
It's not acceptable, yeah? But how do you know it's not acceptable? Is there a rule that says it's not acceptable? Yes, there is a rule, but we cannot explain what the rule is. The rule is there, but the rule is unexplainable.
Yes,
Here is another example. Yeah, make or do your bed.
Make your bed.
Yeah, why not do your bed? There's no reason. I mean, there's a rule there, but we can't really explain what the rule is. Remember our discussion about grammar early on. Yeah, we focus too much on grammar rules that we can explain. But in the English language or in any language, there are 1,000 other rules that we cannot explain. Now, it doesn't mean that we should not be teaching or we should not help the students acquire these many other grammatical rules that are actually more important than the rules that we can explain in the English language. Yeah. So the question again to us is this. Yes, breadth here means size. How many words do our students need to know? I think that is a very important question. Yeah, fundamental question is how many words? And the second question that is even more important is how well do you want your students to know those words? I think the second one is depth. The second one actually is very much related to what we discussed earlier on as implicit grammar knowledge. This is implicit vocabulary knowledge. You know the words very well, but you can't explain. You just know the meaning of those words and you can use this. Yeah. Now here is a question for you about vocabulary. Question is about idioms. Idioms. Are idioms important in the English language? Mbak Puji, are idioms important?
Yes, Pak Willy.
Yes,
I'm
idioms
actually learning from you. That's why I keep communicating with you in English. Although
Yes.
I know you speak Japanese, but
Yes. Okay. Yes, but there are different types of idioms. Yeah, there are idioms that are easy to understand, but there are also idioms that are difficult to understand. Idioms that are sort of culture specific, culture bound. The kind of idioms that are understood by a group of people coming from a culture, a different culture, but the idioms may not be easy to understand for people outside that culture. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah. Can I invite you to finish my idiom here on the screen? No need to cry over spilled. What is the next word? Milk. Yeah. No need to cry over spilled milk. Tidak perlu disesali. Nasi in bahasa Indonesia is nasi sudah menjadi bubur begitu. Yeah. So the question you need to ask is that easy to understand or is it difficult to understand? No need to cry over spilled milk. If you feel that it's difficult to understand, and forget it, don't teach it. You're wasting a lot of time there. Yeah. The second one is more interesting. Penny wise, pound. One word, please. Pound. Foolish. Yes. Pound foolish. Yeah. Penny wise, but pound foolish. What does it mean? Do you know what a penny is? Do you know what a pound is? If it takes you like 10 minutes to explain, then forget it. Again, you're wasting a lot of time explaining idiomatic expressions that are not very useful, only understood by a group of people from other countries, but that expression is not particularly useful in other places. This is a bit like jokes. Some jokes are universally funny, and some jokes are very cultural. They're funny for some group of people, but not funny for other group of people. Yeah, I think that's very important to remember. If an idiom requires a lot of explanation, if an idiom is very culturally bound, then I don't think you need to spend a lot of time explaining that or spending time in the classroom with your students. The last example here is it's water under
The bridge.
under the bridge. Yes, it's water under the bridge. Tidak usah disesali gitu. It's water under the bridge. Do you have to know this idiom? I think that is a big question for us. Yeah. Nobody taught me this. but I somehow know what it means, but not when I started early, in my early days learning English. It was very much later when I came across this expression, then I sort of, okay, I think roughly I know what that means. So there's this opportunity for the students to learn, a lot of phrases, a lot of idioms on their own. Yeah, without us having to teach all these things to the students. So just you need to remember that there are things that we can teach, we should teach in the classroom, given the limited amount of time that we have. But there are many other things that the students can learn on their own, independently. Ya, ini namanya belajar mandiri, that the students can learn on their own. Your job is to make sure that your students have reached that stage where they can learn a lot of new things on their own. And that has to do with, equipping them, providing them with a strong foundation in two things. Number one, in reading and in listening. Yeah. When the students are able to read with comprehension, when the students are able to listen with understanding, I think there's a lot of things that they can learn on their own. So essentially what I mean is this: your job is to make sure that your students reach at least B1, at least B1 level, B1, if not B2. That's your job. Most important job. And at that point in time, I think the students can develop on their own if they want to. If they don't want to develop on their own, it's not your problem anymore. Yeah, it's their problem. Okay. Next one is text. This is about reading. This is about listening. Yeah. Very important for us to remember that content is so, so important. In the absence of interesting text, very little is possible. Yeah. If you have spent the whole year teaching using prescribed textbooks, and the reading passages or the listening passages are not interesting, I think chances are very high that your students will not learn very much from the lessons, from the activities that you do in the classroom. Content is so, so important. I think you know this, I know this, everyone knows this. If the content is not interesting, not much learning can happen. You're just not excited enough, you're not motivated, you don't feel very happy when you learn that content. So please remember this, content is so, so important. Now, there's another dimension when we look at text, reading passages or listening passages, or even a podcast, or video, a movie, and things like that. Yeah, as a language teacher, we need to understand that not all texts are created equal. Some texts are easy to understand, some texts are a bit challenging, and some other text materials are extremely difficult. So we are looking at basically three different types, three categories of teaching materials. Teaching materials at the comfort zone. That means the students can read, can listen with understanding on their own without any help from you. And number two is reading and listening to materials that is slightly above the student's level, the stretch zone. You need to provide help to the students as a teacher. And the last one is the what I would call the panic zone. The panic zone is just the text is just too difficult. It's impossible for the students to read. Even with the best help that you can provide, the students still cannot understand. So forget about the panic zone, yeah? Focus on the first two, comfort zone and stretch zone. Let me ask you this question. Which one is more important? Which one is more useful for language learning purposes?
Excuse me, Bapak.
Yes.
I'm not putting you in a panic zone, but you have 5 minutes left for the presentation.
Okay, I'll move faster.
Yeah.
Yes, comfort zone or stretch zone. I think the majority will say the stretch zone. Here, the stretch zone is the kind of text that contain usually new vocabulary, contain new grammar, and new content as well. I think we have been prepared. If you are attending pre-service or in-service education, then your professors will probably tell you that a text must have something new to the students. I have nothing against that. Please go ahead. But the belief that easy, familiar text have no purpose, I think that is a faulty assumption. Yeah. If you remember our earlier discussions about implicit grammar, about vocabulary depth, yeah, the sources of vocabulary depth and implicit grammar actually come from the students listening to and reading easy and familiar text. And that is what the second language acquisition theory is telling us here. So easy texts are just excellent resources for the students to develop what is important in language learning. Comprehensible input, a lot of listening, a lot of reading. And it's a great source of implicit grammar. It's a great source of deeper vocabulary knowledge. And it is the kind of text that enables, all these magical things that you have in your head happening, like consolidation, restructuring, reorganization, strengthening your memory of words, phrases, grammatical structures that you have seen before. Yeah, so do not discount, do not ignore the importance of easy text. But for some reasons, yang namanya guru, teachers always want to challenge our students. Something new, something difficult, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think it has its own place, but I think we are forgetting that the best source of learning language is not from reading difficult text. No, it's from reading familiar text. It's from reading interesting text that are easy to understand. Okay. Here are some sources that will help your students to read and encounter easy, comprehensible text. These are all freely available on the internet, yeah? X Reading is just an excellent digital library that contains a lot of reading materials at different levels. So the students get to choose which ones that they want to read, which ones are at the right level for them. It's called X Reading, but this one is not free. You have to pay a little bit because all the books are copyrighted. Okay, let me just skip very quickly about learning strategies. Now, learning strategies are, have been around for some years. It's considered a very important part in the English language learning process. And some people have actually suggested very strongly that strategy is a magic bullet. Strategy is a shortcut. If you want to learn English quickly, then strategies are the answer. I think that is not correct. I think that is a mistaken belief. Now here is the thinking. Ya, ini asal-usulnya seperti ini. The reason behind the thinking that learning strategies is so important, it's so powerful. Yeah, research tells us that good language learners, those who are successful in learning the language, they use a lot of strategies. But students who are not so good, poor language learners, they don't use a lot of strategies. And when they do this research looking at the correlation between the two, they find that, hey, there's a very good positive relationships between strategy use and proficiency. Jadi kesimpulannya adalah, let us now teach strategies to our not so good students, so they too can become, good language learners. But it doesn't happen that way. It does not happen that way. Yeah. Now, this is one important statement from one of the top scholars in language learning strategies. Rebecca Oxford is like the queen mother, if you like, on this topic. This is what she says. Yeah, pelan-pelan dibaca ya. Would you give me another 5 minutes? Strategies are the L2 learner's toolkit for active, conscious, purposeful, and attentive learning, and they pave the way toward greater proficiency, learner autonomy, and self-regulation. So what it says actually is, if you know these strategies, then the door to heaven is open for you, basically. It's a magic bullet. You'll become very good. You'll become more purposeful, yeah, and you become more autonomous. and you can regulate your own behavior. And at the end of it all, you develop a good proficiency in the English language. I don't think that is the way. Again, let me share with you a study. Now, this is not just one single study. I've seen many studies like this one. Okay. Now, the study here looks at a group of strategies known as metacognitive strategies. It's a higher level kind of strategies: planning, thinking ahead, summarizing, evaluating, in the language learning process. So the participants of the study are 64 undergraduate, non-English language major from Thailand. And the researcher, Dr. Thanavong here, used two groups of students. Group one is the experimental group. Yeah. So they attend listening lessons, plus they are taught a number of metacognitive strategies like thinking, evaluating, planning ahead, and things like that. And group two is the usual control group. They just follow the usual lessons in the classroom. Are you clear about this? Yeah? Okay. The result? Which one is better? Which one is better? Group one or group two?
One. I think group one.
No, Sami Mawon. Yes, Sami. Yeah, it's the same. The two groups perform equally well, at the end of the study, which brings a very important question: why bother teaching strategies when it has no effect? And I've seen studies like this in several places. Correlation, yes. But when it comes to, does it really make a difference if you teach students strategies? The answer is, it's not very clear. Yeah. Let me say this. Let me add this information. This is particularly true when you are working with lower proficiency students. Students at the A1 and A2, I don't think you need to teach a lot of strategies. It's not very useful. Yeah. Okay, let me share with you another study. Now this one is more interesting. Not more interesting. This one is done in Japan, and it's done with a larger group of students. Now this is the context of the study. 129 college students in Japan. Their level is A2. It's very much the same like in Thailand. The majority are A1, A2 students. Now in this study, there are three groups. Group yang pertama, the first group, strategy plus listening input. So strategy and a bit more opportunities for the students to listen to the English language. Group two, strategy and the usual listening lesson. Not added, extra listening input is not added in. And group three is listening only, the control group. So group one is experimental one, group two is experimental group two, and group three is the control group. Again, what is your best guess? Group one better than group two? Yeah? The results are very interesting. Ada dua. Yang pertama adalah the two groups, group one and group two, they're very happy. They are very happy with the treatment. They're very happy with the way the listening lessons are taught by the teacher. And they became more confident. During the interview, they said, wow, now my listening comprehension has improved. Thank you so much for teaching me all those wonderful strategies. But when it comes to the actual listening ability at the end of the experiment in the post-test, the control group actually performed better than the two experimental group. This is what it looks like. Remember, group one and group two are the experimental group. Yeah, their performance actually terjun bebas. It dropped actually. The control group actually improved a little. Interesting, yeah? So if you are doing your master's at UNNES, I think you may want to replicate this study so that you become more convinced that, well, strategies may probably not be that useful. I think it's good to know, but it may not have, important impact on students' language development. So listen to this person. I think he has a very good piece of advice here. Yeah, and he's talking about reading, and what he says here is applicable to the teaching of listening as well. Daniel Willingham is a cognitive scientist, so he does research and he understands very much about how our brains work, in particular in relation to language learning. This is what he says. Teaching reading strategy is a low-cost way to developing readers a boost, a motivation, but it should be a small part of a teacher's job. I think that's a good piece of advice. Can you teach strategies? The answer is yes, you can. Yeah, but don't make that a big part of your job as a teacher. His advice is this. I think you need to help your students increase their vocabulary, both size and depth, and also increase their background knowledge, topical knowledge. These two are probably the most important where reading and where listening are concerned. Finally, 1 menit, Ibu Puji. 1 minute. Yeah, we have looked at grammar. We have looked at vocabulary. We have looked at strategies. And we have looked at text as well. Yeah, this is the last part. The last part is native-like fluency. Is it a gold standard? For many, many years, I think a lot of teachers believe that your job as a teacher is to help to prepare your students to become an excellent speaker, to become somebody who can speak like English speakers from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand, or from many other places, the UK, and so on and so forth. Yeah. The thinking today, I think that is a faulty assumption. That's a faulty belief. I think the thinking today is this, that becoming or being able to speak like a native speaker, if you're from Indonesia, or if you're from Thailand, if you're from China, is not desirable, it's not achievable. Not desirable because you don't want to be somebody that you are not. If you speak like an American person, then basically you are changing your identity. You are no longer somebody from Java. You are no longer somebody from Indonesia. You don't want that to happen. So Ibu Puji, when she speaks like somebody from Indonesia. And the MC, namanya siapa tadi ya Bu ya? The MC.
Miss Ashanti.
Bu Ashanti, she speaks so well. I was so impressed. Does she speak like a native speaker? No. Does she have to speak like a native speaker? No. Yeah, I think she speaks in a way that is very nice, that is very easy to understand, and everything was very clear, and it was a good, I think she did a very good job. Yeah. So bahasa Inggris sekarang ini, but English is now an international language. It's not a language that belongs to native English speaking people, but it belongs to the world. And that means that when we speak English to other people, chances are you'll be speaking to people like me, you'll be speaking to people, from Japan, you'll be speaking to people from Thailand and other places. So there's no need for you to be somebody that you are not. Now, what is interesting is this, recent development, I've seen this happening and also reported in the newspaper that native English speakers, they also need to learn to speak, to communicate with non-native speakers of English. Do you know why? Because when they speak, very often, not to all of them, when they speak, it's not always easy to understand, especially when they use their jargons, when they use their idioms, when they tell jokes that are very culture specific. It's very difficult to understand. So for native speakers who do international business with other people from the world, from Korea, from Japan, I think they have to learn to speak in a way that is easily understood by people. Yeah, at the end of the day, communication is about understanding, isn't it? Communication is about, hey, whether or not I am able to, say what I want to say to other people in a way that is easy, that is clear, that is logical to other people. Yeah. Okay, two major considerations. The standard today is not for somebody to be like a native speaker, but the standard today is two things. Number one is comprehensible, linguistically comprehensible. And number two, it has to be socially and culturally acceptable. The word culture here does not only refer to UK culture or US culture. Culture here refers to the cultures of speakers of English from all over the world. Okay, so this is the last slide, I think. Yeah, on the left-hand side, people have for many years been debating whether it's best to learn English from native speakers or from non-native speakers. I think the answer is very clear. This question is no longer relevant because we are looking we are not looking at where the people come from or where the teachers come from, but we are looking at qualifications, whether or not somebody is a qualified language teacher or not. So qualification, experience is more important than just being native speakers or non-native speakers of English. Yeah. So the question is whether you are a good teacher, whether you are an effective teacher, or whether you are an ineffective teachers. If you want to know more about what an effective teacher looks like, here is another free gift for you. What makes a good language teacher in a changing world? It's freely available on my website. So conclusion, these are the 5, and there may be more out there. There are 5 misguided beliefs I think we should try to avoid. One, to do with grammar. The belief that we have to teach all the grammar rules in the English language, that's simply not correct. Yeah, vocabulary is not as important as grammar. That is not correct either. If anything, vocabulary is more important, especially depth of vocabulary knowledge, how words are used in context, in situations. Text, reading materials and listening materials, yes, they are important, but I think we should not always depend on using text that are above the student's level of proficiency. Easy, familiar text, interesting text are extremely important in propelling students' language development. Next, strategies, are they important? Yes, they are important, but they, especially for younger, for the less proficient students, I think strategies are just a burden, if you like. Yeah, strategies don't really support language development at the early stage of learning. And finally, native-like fluency. There's no need for you to become like a native speaker when you speak English. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you find my presentation enjoyable and useful in some way. Mbak Puji, please, back to you.
Thank you, Pak Willy, for such an insightful presentation. We have around 1 minute left for Q&A session. Please feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to ask question, ladies and gentlemen. When you are called upon, kindly state your name and affiliation before your question. Miss Iin Indrayanti, go ahead.
Thank you, Prof. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Prof. Willy. It's nice to have you in the camera. Quite long for me. I didn't join with your seminar before.
Yes.
Okay, Prof. Willy, I have a question. I used to teach vocational students, but now I teach teacher for elementary students, PGSD.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you what the first thing I need to give, what kind of material I need to give to the calon guru sekolah dasar. Yeah, I still need some guidance, even though I read a lot and Prof. Puji also give me some advices.
Yeah.
And then it will be very nice to have another advice from you as well. Thank you, Prof.
Yes, it's a broad question, but it's an extremely important question, Ibu Iin. I think we need to, think about what aspects of teacher development, you want to focus more on, whether you want to focus on language proficiency because they will be teaching English to young children eventually, or whether you want to focus on more on the pedagogical knowledge, pedagogical skill that these teachers must have. Let me just focus on the first one, the language proficiency. I think that is extremely important data from the Ministry of Education that I was able to get hold of last year. You know, there were like 12,000 teachers from different parts of Indonesia took an English language test by Pearson. Ini datanya sudah ada di ministry tapi belum dibuka di umum. The data shows that the majority of these teachers, 12,000 English teachers, their proficiency is still at the A2 level. A2 level. A very small number, a very tiny level, tiny number of these teachers have a B1 level. Small number, maybe about 2 or 3%. And maybe less than 1% is at the B2 level. So about 70% plus of these teachers are still at the A2 level on average. And that means a number of these teachers are still at the A1 level. A1, A1 is like basic, non-functional English. So Ibu Iin, if you want to prepare these teachers, I think the very first thing you need to do is to upskill their English language proficiency. Make sure that they reach at least B1. If they are not at the B1, do not let them graduate. Yeah, Bu Iin, do not let them graduate unless they're able to get to B1. I think
even though they are PGSD teacher.
Yes. Yes, I think the global agreement, general agreement in terms of the proficiency level of English language teachers in the region, at least in Thailand, in Vietnam, in other places, including Indonesia, it should be for primary school English teachers, it should be B1. Yeah, if you're teaching at the high school, secondary education, it has to be B2. I think that has implication for the language education program, Bu Uli, at UNNES, Mbak Puji. I think you need to try the best you can that students should not be allowed to graduate unless they have reached B2. I think that will make your graduates really competitive. That means that your graduates will find it easier to get a good job once they finish their education at UNNES. And I'll be very happy to share with you how you can help your students to get to B2 in 4 years' time. It's very, very possible. It's very, very doable. You just need to, you just need to tweak, some of the, structures of the program. Nggih, ngoten Ibu Indrayanti.
Thank you so much, Prof. Puji.
Thank you for the thoughtful question, Bu Iin, and the response, Pak Willy. Unfortunately, we have to conclude the Q&A here. Once again, let's express our gratitude to Dr. Renandia for reminding us that lifelong learning is not only about acquiring new knowledge, but also about questioning and revisiting our beliefs and practices as teachers, researchers, and learners. This has been a stimulating way to open our plenary sessions, and I am sure the insights will resonate throughout the rest of the conference. Thank you everyone for your active participation. Please enjoy the rest of the sessions at ELTLT 2025. Back to Ms. Ashanti.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Renandia, for a very insightful presentations, and Professor Puji for moderating the session. Before we proceed to the next plenary session, we would like to share a certificate of appreciations for Dr. Renandia. Here we go. Please everyone give a big virtual applause using reactions for Dr. Renandia.
Thank you, Pak Willy. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Willy Renandia.
Thank you, Ibu MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.
You did a very good
Renandia.
job. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, this is the end of our plenary session 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the second plenary session will be presented by Associate Professor Dr. Li Luan from University of Malaya. She will elaborate her works which focus on the intersection between digital learning and English in language learning. The session will be moderated by Dr. Arif Suryo Priyatmojo. He is currently teaching as a lecturer in English Education Study Program, UNNES. Dr. Arif, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ashanti. Good morning, Associate Professor
Good
Dr.
morning.
Welcome to our conference. Okay, good morning, everyone here. Thank you for joining us today for the 14th UNNES ELTLT Conference 2025. My name is Arif Suryo Priyatmojo, and I will be your moderator for these sessions. Today, we are going to dive into an insightful presentations entitled From Classroom to Clicks, English Language Learning through IDLE, Informal Digital Learning of English. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Li Luan from Faculty of Languages and Linguistics, University Malaya. Associate Professor Dr. Li Luan obtained her PhD in Linguistics, Applied Linguistics from University of Otago, New Zealand. She teaches postgraduate courses related to research methodology and second language acquisitions at the Faculty of Languages and Linguistics. Her current research interest includes computer-assisted language learning, online learning, game-based learning, and the use of computer automated feedback and AI-generated output as a tool or aid in academic contexts, especially in higher educations. She is also certified trainer for the software and FIFO. She has been invited to conduct workshop and related to qualitative data analysis using computer-assisted qualitative data analysis software in deciphering research data at various public and private universities, locally and abroad. She has also participated in research project with interdisciplinary focus. Li Luan has also been invited to review journal articles for overseas and local publications such as Frontier in Psychology, Language Sciences, Pertanika Journal, Malaysian Journal of ELT Research, the Malaysian Journal of Learning and Instructions. And today, Dr. Li Luan will share her thoughts and expertise on the topic. Without further ado, let's warmly welcome to Associate Professor Dr. Li Luan to begin the presentations. Time is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arif. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to convey my appreciation to everyone for attending this session. And more especially, I would like to convey my thanks to Professor Yuli, the chair of this conference, Professor Tommy Kurniawan, whom I've met when I visited UNNES in Semarang last year, members of the organizing committee, and especially Dr. Yuliati. She is the main contact person for me. And of course, this is really a very important occasion, I think, for us to talk about what's going on in the language and teaching of literature, English literature, or in education in general. So I would like to congratulate the Language and Arts Faculty of Universitas Negeri Semarang for organizing this 14th UNNES International Conference on English Language Teaching, Literature and Translation, or you call it ELTLT 2025. I look forward to more such conference in the future, and I believe such event will benefit all the teachers, the researchers, the academician in Indonesia in years to come. So without much further ado, I'll just like to share my slides. Sorry, the sharing is not turned on. Do I have to send a request?
Please wait
Yeah.
a minute. What about now?
Let me try again. Yep. Thank you. Maybe I'll just share the whole thing. The entire screen will be better. Okay. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So, okay. So I'll just start my slideshow then. Okay. Sorry. This is my slideshow. Okay. Yeah. It's working now. So, yeah. So, this is in, sorry, this thing is coming up. I'm going to, all right. So I am going to talk about another aspect of English language learning and teaching, in fact. And this is a rather new concept. We call it idle. In English, idle means you're doing nothing, but you're doing a lot of things actually in idle. So what does idle stand for? It stands for informal digital learning of English. This is a term coined by researchers in the field. So when we talk about idle, let's go through the first one. Let me start with something that concern everyone. You and I use social media. The student use it a lot. Literally everybody is using social media. So when we talk about digital communication, we can't run away from social media and of course all the social media platforms. So before I proceed, could you just take some time off to scan and go to this website, and maybe you can go as many times as possible. And what do you think are most likely to be preferred by our student, whether it's EFL or ESL learners of English, when it comes to the use of social media platform? What do you think? Which one do you think they would prefer? Okay. And we shall look at the answer now. If you can just scan before I proceed to the website to show the results. And for those who are in front of your computer, sorry, let me do it again. Yeah. You can use your smartphone to do this, or let me do this. You can also do it this way. Yeah. You see my screen?
Yes.
It's still same screen, ma'am.
All right. I think I'm going to hide panel. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Like this. Yeah. Is it better? So if you go to menti.com, you can also key in this number. Yeah. So people are feeding into this. And you can see things are changing. If you go to menti.com, you can also do this. Okay, maybe say another 30 seconds. Yeah. All right. Just to let you know, the bigger the font, the bigger the text, the higher the count. That means more people are talking about it. And you can see the stable ones are Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. All right, these are the situation with our audience here. And I think it pretty much also kind of reflect the situation out there. Okay, let me go back to my slides. You can keep doing that if you want. Okay, so let me go back to my slides. So if you look at my slides, this is a situation. This is taken from, of course, globally, okay? Then, of course, when it's taken globally, it's slightly different. But like I said, okay. All right, just let me stop sharing and so that I have more control of situation. Okay. Okay, so, and this is, can you see the slideshow? Can somebody let me know if you're seeing the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. So Instagram, like I said, you know, it reflects what's going on globally as well. So you have Instagram, you have YouTube, you have Facebook, and these are, of course, the highest Facebook at this moment. And I believe it's going to change in the years to come. So what does that tell you? That is like an opportunity here. If you look carefully, it also says that there's an opportunity here that we should explore in terms of using it to learn English language, to teach English language. Okay, so this is IDLE is actually related to this as well. So let's talk about the situation in Indonesia. Okay, let's put it closer to your context. My question is, what about the situation in Indonesia in terms of time spent using internet, daily time spent, and especially for social media? So if you use the same code now, I'm going to launch a different survey. Okay. You will see a different survey now. You have a choice of time spent on social media in Indonesia. And let me share the screen with you. And let me share the site itself. Okay. So yeah, using the same QR code, now can you just have a guess? How many hours? The daily hours spent by Indonesian on social media. And maybe I'm gonna stop in like 30 seconds. So you have 4 choices there: 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. This is on daily, daily time spent on social media. Let's see which group of people will have a more accurate guess based on statistic from last year, okay? Okay. Oh, all right. The participant limit reached, it seems. Okay, all right, never mind. So here, if we look at the screen, we are looking at the highest would be 5 hours and the second highest will be 4 hours. All right. Well, what's the number from this website anyway, yeah? Okay, let me share. All right, let's stop sharing. And let me go back to my slides. Okay, so if you look at my slides, let me share. This is the statistics, and it's about last year. This is January 2024. I'm sure it's changing every year. At this moment, it's 3 hours and 11 minutes. I mean, despite the fact that it's not the highest reading on the choices that were given to you, this is rather high because if you factor in the number of hours we are awake, the number of hours we have to do our work, go to school, and so on. These are actually the hours that are left with us, the number of hours we spend on social media, and it's 3 hours, 11 minutes. It's a rather high reading. So that tells you that, like, give us an opportunity that, telling us that learning English language is no more confined to in the formal context. So we're talking about schools, okay? Going to school, going to university. Right now, we are looking at informal digital learning of English, which is happening every day. We all know that there's lots of English being used in social media. And especially right now, AI has joined the bandwagon, sort of, all right? So you have AI now. So now we even have AI-powered learning. So between these two, what is happening? Okay, I'm going to talk about what is happening and what opportunities are out there and what are the features that entice people to using this digital learning, informal digital learning, meaning basically you are talking about not really learning English in the classroom itself, but outside the classroom, but it's digital learning. So let's have some background information here. I'm sure I don't have to talk about this. We talk about computer, back in the 90s, we talk about computer-assisted language learning, proposed by researchers like Professor Levy from Australia in 1997, and many other more. And then we have what we call language learning beyond the classroom by Benson. This is coined by Benson. And from there, this is in 2018, as early as 2018, okay? Professor Lee from University of Hong Kong talked about self-directed informal digital English learning independent of formal context. Again, it's outside the school, outside the classroom. And we're talking about, if you look carefully, that's, the streaming services, Netflix, Instagram, social media, fast becoming an important aspect of our daily life. So they coined this opportunity to learn English as idle. And now we are even looking at AI idle now. Yeah, AI is everywhere, due to the advanced development by ChatGPT, companies that, manage ChatGPT. We also have DeepSeek and so many others, right? as I am presenting, I'm sure another company has already joined this group of companies. So let's look at how does idle or informal digital learning of English take place. There are two situations that we can talk about. One is what we call extracurricular and extramural. So extracurricular, this is the definition. I'm not going to read, but basically it's about semi-organized setting, but still affiliated with an official language course. That means it's like an enrichment activities that we ask our student to do or that we design for our student. So other than their assignment, their daily take-home tasks, we also ask them to do other things. So these are extracurricular. And then we also can talk about extramural. What is extramural? It's non-structured. It's independent from the education program. It's independent from the class context or the classroom context. And of course, in terms of extracurricular, the formality is still curriculum related because it's kind of linked to the program still. Whereas extramural, it's more spontaneous, it's more autonomous, it gives the learners more freedom. They get to decide what they want to do, when they want to do it, how much time they want to spend on it. They get to do that, all right? Nobody's going to tell them that, okay, I need you to do this in 3 hours. Give me some outcome of this next week. There's no such constraint. So to ensure, to explain what do we mean by extracurricular context, so that you understand what we're talking about. So it can be, for example, video creation for clubs, competition, promotion purposes, right? Promotion of your program. It can be graphics or pictures creation for school activities, assignments. It can be, even like public speaking, digital world, public speaking in digital world. So these are what we call extracurricular activities in idle. As for extramural, this is it. We have the usual, watching K-drama, watching all the K-drama, the J-drama, whatever dramas, movies, gaming. I'm sure all of you do this, especially if you're of a certain age group. This is part and parcel of your daily activities, okay? And content creation can be any kind of digital content creation to promote yourself in YouTube, to talk about an issues, to sell stuff even. Right? Some people have a side gig, they have side income from this. And of course, podcasts. This is also very, very popular now. Content are also being deliberated and presented in podcast manner. So with all this, we need to talk about what are the characteristics of idle, right? You have this extracurricular, extramural. So let's talk about the 4 characteristics. If you look at locus of control, pedagogy, and location, they are the same. The only difference now is the formality, structured and unstructured. And one, of course, you get certification. If you pass the exam and everything, you will be certified, you get a certificate. And this one, of course, you don't get certificate. Yeah, you don't expect Netflix to give you a certificate unless you are a content creator, and that's for your sales, for selling stuff. And that's for YouTube. Okay, a lot of people are doing that as well. So why idle? And why are we looking at idle? Why is idle an important thing to look into, an important concept? There are 3 major purposes here that I would like to share with everyone here. One is in terms of the socialization purpose. 2, for entertainment purpose. And 3, for information purpose. And also it relates to 2 sort of activities, what we call PIA and RIA. PIA is productive idle activities, RIA is receptive idle activities. These are actually related to the way we look at the 4 language skills. Any one of us who are English or language teachers, we know productive skills relate to writing and speaking. Receptive skill related to listening and reading. In the context of idle, if we talk about productive idle activities, most of the time we are talking about content producing. Okay, so learners are kind of playing the roles as content producers. For RIA or receptive idle activities, they are the consumers. Okay, these students or these learners are deemed as content consumer because they listen, they watch. So if you look at the 4 language skills again, you have writing, listening. Okay, I'm looking at the icon here. Listening, writing, speaking, listening, and reading. So there are four here. When we talk about the receptive skills, like what we say, it's more about consumer. So when you are as a consumer, you rely on your knowledge related to grammar, vocabulary. I'm very glad Dr. really talked about vocabulary. Yeah, it plays a very important role in your receptive skills. Okay, especially when you look into digital materials. And of course, your knowledge related to tone, articulation, and so on, pronunciation. When we talk about receptive skill in idle, of course, we're talking about your language expression and output. And of course, when we say language expression and output, it also relates to factors such as your anxiety level. We know that from research, a lot of people look into the productive skill in terms of how these internal factors affect their performance. So things like your confidence level, your anxiety, okay? External factor can be your real world experience, your real world exposure, your strategies, your metacognitive strategies, and so on and so forth. If we look at my slide now, again, you see the word vocabulary come back again. So all this, all related, actually I'm very happy that Dr. really talked about lexicals and vocabulary this morning because it lends very well to my presentation. It plays a very important role because your writing proficiency relies on your vocabulary. And the same goes with your speaking, oral expression, and fluency. Okay, these are according to this researcher from the past 5 years. So now we would like to know what makes idle different. How does idle make things happen? What are the different digital means in idle that assist the development of language productive skills? Okay, today we're going to focus more on productive skills because of the time limit. I'm just going to focus on this. And of course, what features are found in these digital means that that help the development of this productive skill for EFL learners or ESL learners? So I'm going to talk a little bit about we're going to give you some data. But before I present the data, I'm going to tell you about where did I get this data. So basically, we got all this data from the published articles from Web of Science and Scopus. We use the Prisma method to collect the articles, okay? And this is just a short flowchart about how it's done. If you want to know more about this, you can contact me and I will show you one of my publications whereby we use Prisma to talk about another related matters in e-learning. Okay, so what did we find out from all these published articles? So all these articles are published from the last 5 to 8 years. So the last one, I think we we have also included the one in 2025, but I believe these slides are only up to the end of 2024. So in this case, as extracted from about 125 articles that look into digital language learning, we found out, we categorized them, and we realized that you can roughly separate them into three major purposes. One is for socialization purposes, one would be for entertainment purposes, and one for information purposes. Okay, these are from published academic articles from WOS and Scopus. And if we look a bit deeper into this data, remember RIA and PIA, receptive, idle activities, productive idle activities. These are the dominants, right? So in terms of socialization, what does this 2 and 10 stand for? These are the tools. These are the platform or the tools involved. For receptive, you see 2. For productive skills, we see 10. Yeah. As we go through the articles, we look at what did they look into, what did they investigate, what tools did they look into. So for socialization, we found that from this so-called, okay, let me go back, 125 articles, we have 10 tools related to productive skills, which mean productive idle activities, and 2 for receptive. For entertainment purposes, we have 9 for receptive. So this is the other way around. Of course, entertainment, we watch a lot, right? We don't really write that much. And for PR, for productive, is 1. However, for information purposes, it's a bit balanced. It's slightly more balanced. For the productive idle activities, 6. For the receptive, 8. So if you take everything into account, it kind of balances out, okay? Because so if you add all these 3 purposes together, the use of tools for PR and RIA kind of evens out. And I'm going to show you what are the top tools used. For socialization purposes, please focus on the blue bar here. Facebook and Facebook Messenger. Other social media platforms, these are the ones that we coded because they're quite a lot, but you can see YouTube is one, not YouTube. So these are the Facebook, yeah, socialization, of course, is Facebook. And I believe also right now, when we say other social, we are also talking about Snapchat and even Instagram, okay? For entertainment purposes, you'll see that these are the top tools or top platforms. You have YouTube, used to watch movies, TV series, dramas, songs, and music. You have Google Translate is the next one. So these are the 3 idle activities. As for information purposes, based on our coding, it's more of collaborative editing, AI-driven apps, news articles, unspecified website, so these are like website, like you need, for example, for this conference, you would go to this conference to find out, the registration, to find out when you need to send your abstract, and so on and so forth. But what is important here is that we realize that you do see this collaborative editor, Google Translate, other than Google Translate, collaborative editor is actually used quite a lot in terms of idle activities, which means this is a productive activity. That means join, collaborate in doing something. Okay, you write, I write. It can be Google Doc, trying to draft something. It can also be collaboration with AI. You ask AI, you brainstorm with AI, AI give you some information, you ask some more, or you put more data and ask AI to refine it. This is also called a sort of collaborative editor. Again, that was the graph. This one, yeah, we just want to show you the years. yeah, up to 2025, and Facebook page and Messenger. Okay, those are the years in the published articles that we have that appear in other social media platform. And let's go to entertainment. Yeah, definitely YouTube, and then movie, TV series, dramas. Okay, so on digital receptive idle activities involve a lot of this, and of course, songs and music. As for information purposes, news article, yeah. And interestingly, right now, AI-driven apps play a very important role now. That means interacting with AI play a very important role in getting information. And of course, I don't have to tell you, even right now, even Google is integrating AI into their search engine. You can integrate AI even with your Adobe. You can integrate AI with many things. In many ways, if you do your PowerPoint right now, AI can suggest the design for you. I'm sure you realize that there's this designer option. So you just put in your content and the AI will suggest that, would you want to present it like A way, B way, C way, so many ways. You don't even have to crack your head. I still remember in the olden days, we have to think about, okay, how big is the font? What do I want to put the picture? Is it on the right, on the left, top, bottom? And how do I want to integrate the font and the picture to make it clear? Now, all I need to do is make my choices. So if you use PPT, you know that this has cut down a lot of work. This is a sort of idle activities, right? If you're doing it, that for me, if I'm doing it for any purposes. So, sorry, Ibu, can I know how much time do I have?
You still have around
Dr. Arif, sorry. Sorry, Dr. Arif, yeah.
5 minutes.
How much time do I have? 5 minutes. Okay, great. I mean. So what are the important features here when we talk about, the idle activities? And this is taken, this is what you have. So I just want to draw attention to a few things. The variety of language input and output plays a very important role. That means it has to be in different version, multi-modal. So like right now, for idle activities, you can use your voice to input, you can type. The output can be voice, can be picture, can be text. You can use the inclusion of personalized learning aim is important. So I'm sure if anyone have ever used AI, yeah, you can easily say, tell AI that I want you to do this for me, but I have this condition, you mustn't do this, you must do this. So these are some of our personalized learning aims, our personalized objectives. And of course, reduction in learning anxiety is always the most important thing when we talk about language learning. The less anxious you are, the more you learn. And the situation with idle is it has this effect. It reduces the anxiety. And of course, the personalized learning environment, you can choose how you want to learn your English through gaming, through your social media, through your interaction with your people that you interact with in your social media, even your interaction with news report, your interaction in TikTok, your interaction in so many other things. So based on the reported studies, which of the following feature would you deem as important? And I'm just, we're going back to the same Mentimeter again. Let me just launch it. All right, so you can make your choices now. Okay, cool. If you go, they are given like 8 choices, okay? So you can just choose one. Let me share the screen. I haven't presented yet. Let me do it again, sorry. Oh, okay, all right. So sorry. Okay, it's okay. I'll just share the options with you and tell you which one it is. Sorry, I don't think you can react to it. The reason, of course, there is a limit to the number of participants for each event, and we have already done 2. So let me go back to my slide. Okay. Anyway, this is what we found out from the articles. Again, from this word cloud, it tells you the bigger the font, the higher the count, the more they mention about it. Actually, it's not that different from the old days of communicative teaching. You see the word interactive. Do you see the word authentic language use? And collaboration, visualization, vocalization, a sense of entertainment, and achieving personal goals. But what is important here is that we are still talking about exposing our learners to authentic language use. We are still talking about being engaging and interactive in our instruction. And IDLE fulfill those criteria. Okay, these are the features that make IDLE useful. So if we're looking at what's going on right now, the conventional digital tools and AI-driven tools, if you look at the features, it's not that directly related. And the reasons being, even though both are favored by the learners, the word, if you look at on the left-hand side of your screen, personalized feedback is crucial. This is what the users want. This is why the user choose IDLE. Multimodal responses. Okay, I can hear the response. I can see the response. Abundant language exposure. So it's not like confined to one textbook or one case study. It can be anything, from cooking, from social interaction, from assignment to many other things. Adaptive instruction. You can adapt what you want. You can adapt and say that, all right, now I want this. Okay, I told you about A just now, but I want you in the context of A, I want to see more of A1. So this is adaptive instruction. So this is important. For AI-driven tools, for IDLE, these are the things, these are the 4 features that make it very attractive compared to conventional means, all right? And these are the features for conventional means on the right. I'm not going to read through them. So what does that tell us? It shows us that we need to think about literacy. We need to talk about something like ChatGPT literacy with our learners. We need to talk about prompt literacy. And when we talk about literacy, it's back to the skills, the crafting of prompt, the crafting of instruction, and the ability to understand what has been presented and follow up on it. Now, learners need to do that, need to be able to handle that. And it's high time we, the instructors, the language instructors, join the bandwagon. This has to be part of language learning instruction. So what's the recommendation? I would say, okay, I'm going to go through this quite fast. Prioritize conventional tools enhanced by AI capabilities. Yeah, we cannot run away by AI, but we prioritize tools that be selective of tools enhanced by AI capabilities and know exactly what we need from these AI tools. So like Grok. Okay, Grok is by Elon Musk. Twitter, they also have their AI. Free access, reward, impact, interactive. Yeah. And my users of Grok also felt that in certain conditions, it's actually better than ChatGPT. Sorry, let's go back to Doubao. Doubao, this is from China. Topao is actually very interesting. I don't have time to play, but you can personalize the one you talk to in the voice, male, female, the way they look. You can adapt your instruction. So this can be your conversation partner. You can actually design your conversation partner. The only shortfall is that they cannot slow down the speech at this moment. I believe they're going to do something about it later. Transform conventional tool for diverse purposes into AI integrated system. This is Google Translate. I'm sure you're familiar with this. There's another kind of translation that is being used in China. It's called 有道翻译. This one is better than Google Translate because it has this AI function. It will look at your sentence and try to figure out the context and come up with more refined sentence. So if you say something about cooking, it will realize that, oh, this is not just cooking. Maybe you're looking at cake, the word cake. So it must be related to baking. Okay, the cooking must be about baking because it's cake. So it's a bit higher than Google Translate. So this is one of this. And of course, Copilot, we all can access to Copilot. And I'm just going to go through this. Combine it with purpose-specific conventional means. Even while you're watching YouTube now, CICI can be your partner. You can interact with CICI, ask CICI stuff about your YouTube. It's called CICI. And of course, Kimi Chat. Now, this is very interesting. Kimi Chat is even a bit higher in terms of its interactivity and its productivity. You see, like this is, if you look at the slide, okay, my student asked, this is a question asked to Kimi. Can you give me a detailed comparison of typical dishes from Hong Kong and Kuala Lumpur? No, that's the thing. And then it started asking question back to the student. Are you looking for a comparison of what dishes? Do you want a general overview of each cuisine? Blah, blah, blah. And then the student answer, okay, got 4 questions asked to the student answered the 4 questions. And this is a series of things before the product is produced. At the end of the day, after this interaction with Kimi Chat, this website is created. Amazing, isn't it? This is not created by human. This is created by Kimi. So if you want to give a talk on culinary or the cooking, the dishes between Hong Kong and Kuala Lumpur, it's out there. So from the series of questions that you answer, Kimi is figuring out what should be incorporated in the content. So I've come to the last of my slide because just now 5 minutes. I believe I have exceeded 5 minutes. But in any case, please, this QR code will lead you to the handouts of the talk that I've just delivered. And just, okay, maybe I'm just going to show it a bit longer. And that would be the end of my presentation today with all of you. Thank you for your attention. I hope my session has proved to be helpful.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Liluan, for the informative and very engaging presentations. And I do believe for everyone here that this topic relates for the current situations that we are facing with our students. Okay, for the audience, we still have 5 minutes and we will have Q&A. If anyone...
I welcome any comment, questions, please.
Yeah, feel free to raise your hand and mention your name, and we still have 5 minutes.
Yeah, we have. So I'll let the chairperson decide. Yeah, maybe you can just,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the time, Ibu Dr. Lee Luan. Talking about ELTLT, you said that it's spontaneous and then it's non-formal. But then I have a problem, and based on my reference, that we have an issue of learning independence. So how about this case, Bu? Confronting such issues, and then we want to also extend the learning by using IDLE. Thank you.
Can I get a little bit more information from you? When you talk about learning independence, are you talking about learners making their own decision, being self-directed in their learning?
Yeah.
Yeah, a very good questions. Yeah, I think this is a crucial factor to consider as well, the background of your learners. I have to say, IDLE is more suitable for people with experience. You cannot do it with 5-year-old. They can't do it because they don't have that, we say prasyarat, the precondition. They don't know A to B, okay, difference. So it can be challenging and it's not suitable. But for youth, okay, like those 15 and above, IDLE can be a good option. So yes, learning in terms of self-directed learning, the ability to do that, there should be some precondition. You don't do it with primary school kids, maybe at the end of their primary school years, you can try. But I think if they are just preschools and whatnot, I don't think that's suitable. And also their experience and exposure to internet use. We go back to the have and the have-nots. During COVID time, we heard about one computer shared by 5 siblings. So everybody's trying to grab the computer because they are learning from home. There are students who are very lucky. One person can get access to 3 computers. Okay, so in such unequal access, it's going to impact. Does that answer your question? Does that answer your questions? Yeah, thank you. Any other comment or questions?
Now we still have only one question, from Nabila. Please.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation, Dr. Liluan. I find your research very insightful in showing how learners use platforms for socialization, entertainment, and information. So I would like to ask you a question regarding the framework of IDLE. How can we encourage learners to move beyond entertainment-focused use toward more productive engagement? And could AI tools such as personalized recommendation or chatbots, like what you have mentioned before, help scaffold this shift to support meaningful language learning outcomes? Thank you.
Thank you, Nabila. A very interesting and important question. Yes, how do you transform from this entertainment for fun to learning? I think teacher has to be a bit more creative as instructors right now. We have to think outside the box. So what I have done in the past is, even though these are adult learners, I believe it can easily be used for younger learners or youth. I would ask them to watch a YouTube. I select the YouTube. And have you used Edpuzzle?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And then use Edpuzzle at certain point of the movie. You incorporate your learning aims. Can be like, all right, the person just say something about this word, right? What do you think this would relate to? Is it a food? Is it a building? It is a situation. Okay, this is a good, like Dr. Willie said just now, this vocabulary knowledge needs to be trained as well. Training of having good vocabulary knowledge, my personal opinion, is not having the ability to check with your dictionary or website. Actually having the ability to infer. Infer means guess. Like if I give you a word, look at the sentence context. There's only one word you don't know. But if you have a good inference skill, you can look at it and say, yeah, it's regarding parts of a building. I don't know which part, but this is about parts of a building. Or this is about food. This is about flowers. This is about human characteristic or something like that. Having that ability, or instilling that ability in our learner is very important, because then when they do activities, it's not interrupted by, oh, I tak tahu ni, so I have to go and find dictionary. The flow is gone. But if they have the inference ability, they keep on. The same goes with reading. A lot of students don't read is because it's disrupted by all this dictionary looking. I'm not saying dictionary is not good, but they don't train themselves to be independent reader. This is important. So for me, it can be in any form of entertainment. The teachers right now, the challenge now is to train the teachers to be creative, to be innovative, in trying to like, okay, where is the learning point? Where do I see the learning point? I'm going to pick up on that learning point and I'm going to ask the student to do something with it. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just have to be at least one. If you ask me, 1 to 2 learning point is plenty for each activity. Does that answer your question, Nabila?
Yes, thank you very much for your very clear answer. I really appreciate your insight, Dr. Liluan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for everyone. And I'm sorry for Dr. Lee Luan because we are running out of times. And before I end the sessions, I would like to wrap up today's discussions. Let's summarize some of the key takeaways from our sessions. Social media has become something potential for English language learning. And one of them is by the use of idle. Yeah? Because idle here gives 3 significances. The first one is about informations, and the second one is entertainment, and the last will be socializations. And hopefully that it will give inspiration for us in Indonesia to do the teaching learning process by using idle. Thank you once again to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
And special thanks to Associate Professor Dr. Lee Luan for the valuable presentations. And for the audience, please give big applause to Dr.
Thank
Lee.
you, everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And I will give the time back to Miss Yasinta.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eng Lee Luen, for the highly informative sessions, and Dr. Arif for moderating the sessions. Before we proceed to the parallel session, we would like to share a certificate of appreciations for Dr. Eng Lee Luen. Here we go. Please, everyone, give a virtual applause using reactions for Dr. Eng Lee Luen.
Can you show the set again? I just want to capture the screen. Sorry.
Slide-nya di show.
Show the certificate again, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I've got it.
Okay, thank you very much. And this is the end of our plenary session 2. For the next session, we will have a parallel session 1 that will be held in 10 breakout rooms. For all presenters, please check the program book and join the breakout rooms where you are entitled to. To all participants, you may choose any breakout room that match your interests. Once again, now we will have a parallel session 1 that will be held in 10 breakout rooms. For all presenters, please check the program book and join the breakout room where you are entitled to. To all participants, you may choose any breakout room that match your interests. Thank you very much.
Maaf Mbak, ini breakout room-nya menghilang lagi ya? Maaf.
Yes.
Oh iya, ya masih sedang di
buat lagi oleh perkap, si
Oh,
perkap
oke,
mohon
baik.
ditunggu
Ya.
ya.
Terima kasih.
Iya.
Mohon maaf Kak, ini saya tadi ketinggalan beberapa hal dan saya tidak tahu saya bergabungnya di breakout room yang nomor berapa atau bagaimana. Saya chat adminnya tapi tidak direspon sama sekali. Terima kasih.
Oke, sudah menerima program booknya ya, Ibu?
Mohon maaf saya belum menerima karena di email itu tidak ada terlampir atau apapun, hanya ada backgroundnya dan untuk untuk bergabungnya seperti apa. Itu
Oke,
saja.
presenter atau partisipan ya?
Presenter.
Oke, atas nama siapa?
Nurul Syafika, nama saya tertera.
Oke, Nurul Syafika nanti ada di parallel session 2. Oke, nanti pukul 2:30. Kemudian roomnya room 2.
Oh, 2:30. Oh iya,
Iya,
baik.
jadi silahkan bisa join room yang sudah ada di breakout room. Sekarang sudah terbuka kembali room.
Oh iya, terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Bu Yani, mohon izin. Bu Yani, Ikhwan Bu.
Pak Ivan.
Saya
Monggo,
tadi
Pak.
sudah masuk ke room 9 kok terpental, guys.
Oh iya Pak, tadi tidak sengaja terpencet close sehingga mohon maaf participants dan juga presenters kami minta kembali untuk memilih roomsnya, breakout roomsnya. Mohon maaf sebelumnya Pak.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So for
Izin ya,
all
Bu.
participants, you may choose the breakout rooms
Izin
that
Bu
you
Yani.
want to visit. Oh ya, silakan Bu Ana.
Ya, kami di sesi 2 di breakout room
J.
6. Nanti bergabungnya nanti jam 2:30 ya Bu Yani.
Benar Bu. Tapi misalnya Ibu mau mengunjungi breakout room untuk melihat presentasi di sesi pertama, kami persilahkan.
Oh, ya. Terima kasih Bu Yani.
J.
Ini room 4 ya?
Belum, iya Pak, belum masuk. Ini masih di main room Bapak, Pak
Oh, main room
Sunara
ya?
ini.
Masih di main room.
Silahkan memilih breakout roomnya di pojok kanan bawah.
Thank you very much. Let me say.
Is my audio enough clearly? Directors?
Yes. Dia dekat tinggal, tak malas bedroom teh.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. The first thing first, let me introduce myself. My name is Tony Wajdi. I come from Universitas Negeri Semarang. In this occasion, I would like to try to tell you first the result of
You've been listening to Pomodoro Lounge. We're now entering our first 10-minute break. Take this time to stretch, hydrate, and let your mind wander. If you want to make the most of these next few minutes, consider stepping outside. Sunlight helps support long-term eye health, and the fresh air can give your brain a gentle reset. Even just looking out toward the horizon, letting your eyes rest on something far away, can help counter the strain from close-up screens and reading. When you hear music again, that means the next session is starting. See you then.